Hi guys, this is Crafty Cat. Welcome back to my channel and welcome if you're new. So yesterday I did this painting and I did it with the help of a wonderful tutorial by the talented Paul Clark here on YouTube. So if you want to go check it out, go check it out. His is much better than mine is, but having said that, I'm pretty happy with how this came out. So this is the first time that I've been happy with how one of my cloudy skies came out in ages, and I really love these water reflections and these little pools and puddles and the sand and the sailboats, and I even put in some little people, and that little blob is supposed to be a dog, but the dog didn't turn out that great. But having said that, this was just my practice test because I have these late wish calendar pages and I am really behind. As you can see, this is the March one. And I've already sketched this out again. It's going to be a little bit different because this is longer and a little bit shorter. And this one is shorter and taller. I don't know if you could see. But anyway, I'm going to try to paint a similar scene. And all the blue that you see here is just PBO drawing gum, which you apply to any place where you don't want paint to stick. So that will keep the color of the paper. And then later on, once it's dry and all the painting is done on top, I can just roll that off and I'll have white space underneath. So I just wanted to say, I really like this PBO drawing gum because there's no smell at all. I tried masking fluid before and it smells horrible, like really bad. This, I can't smell anything at all. So yeah, if you want to use something to save the white, I really recommend this PBO drawing gum. But anyway, I want to try this tutorial again on my late wish calendar. And hopefully I can do as good or better than this. Now, some things I would like to do better is I got way too heavy with the colors for the hills here, the background hills. I wanted that to be lighter because things in the distance are supposed to be lighter and not quite so dark. Now, Paul did paint them dark. And I have no trouble with that, but I think I just used much too thick paint because I kept going over it, and it just feels like the paint is too thick. So anyway, I used my solid color Paul Rubens, which I really, really love. I think out of all of my Paul Rubens, this is my favorite set. I don't know why. I love all the other sets too, but this one, it just really hits all the colors that I really like. So these are the colors, and it's really nice for landscape, especially for beaches, because it's got this light color and these colors here too. And it's got the Payne's gray, it's got the different blues and some greens and some pinks and reds and the purple, and it just really has everything that I like, the browns, all the colors you could really need. So yeah, I really do like this set, and I've used it quite a bit, and it's barely gone down along. Like, I will never have to buy any more Paul Rubens paint. I think the one that I've used the most, probably maybe this one, maybe this color here. But, like, for as much as I've used it, it lasts so long. Especially since I overdo it. If I would learn not to go so heavy, I need to add more water when I'm doing watercolor. Now, when Paul did this tutorial, he used a page that was about 4 times bigger than mine. But I had to go small because I was trying to get something similar in size to my late wish calendar. So that's why I chose this. And this is just my Artistro watercolor paper. So this paper is not cotton, but this late wish calendar is cotton. So I'm assuming it will turn out better on this one, but you never know. So for the sky, Paul did it all in one. And I couldn't do it all in one. I did one and mine was way too pale. So I had to wait for it to dry. And then I just re-wet all of the sky and I did it again. And even after I took out the clouds, it was just way too light. Like the color was too light and pale. So I waited, I let it dry. And then I did it again. So this is like 3 layers of paint because I was afraid to go too dark at first. You can see how light it was, like this, you know. But then here I got really too thick because I kept reworking these hills. But yeah. But I'm really happy with how the sailboats turned out. I'm happy with how the rocks turned out, although I couldn't really do the credit card trick. He does a credit card trick on the rocks where you take a little piece of credit card and you scrape them off, and it didn't work really good on this paper because this paper dries super fast. So yeah, but I did get some scrapings, and I'm really happy, with how this came out, and my parents love it, and this is what they chose for their calendar page, and I'm so late in doing it. But I was also late in doing the last one, so they don't mind. This is the last calendar page I did. This was my practice one. The good one is downstairs on the actual calendar. So, and that was also by Paul Clark. And I think the one that I did before that was a ballerina one with Lindsay. Yeah. So this was the first one that I did. And this is just my test one. This is not the actual calendar page. So I've just been practicing them just because they're gifts for my parents. But I had a lot of fun doing this one. This is with Lindsay over at the Frugal Crafter. That was a very fun tutorial. So yeah, so this one will be for March, and next thing you know, I'm going to have to start April pretty soon. But anyway, I'm going to work on this, and I thought maybe I would record some of it because I thought I was recording this and nothing was recording. I had the phone up and everything. I was talking and I didn't notice that it wasn't turned on. So that was my bad. So anyway, I'm just going to show you bits and pieces of this, not the whole thing, and then I'll come back when it's done, okay? And I will be using my Artigria brushes. These are such nice brushes. I really like them. So I'm going to use a big one for the wash to get the water wet and to mix up some blue. All right, so I am doing a voiceover and editing now, and this is sped up to 6 times faster than normal speed. And I'm just painting the sky wet on wet, and I'm moving the painting itself around to help the water to disperse it. And I'm just going with 2 different kinds of blues and a kind of grayish indigo mixed together. It's like Payne's gray and indigo mixed together. So this is just the first layer, and I'm going with Kleenex balled up to take out the clouds, and I'm turning it upside down, and this is not how it will look at the end, like I said. But I did have fun doing this, and I learned a lot doing this with this tutorial. So now I'm doing the first layer of the sandy background, and I'm just using this golden yellow color. I don't remember the name of the actual color. It's just the color that came in this set. And I'm leaving a lot of space for the pools that I'll be painting later on. I do like this color and the blues together. I think they look really fantastic together. So this took me a lot longer to actually paint than it looks with this sped up version. I've got some backgrounds there, and now that it's been blow dried, I'm going with a second layer of sky. I'm just trying to make it look like there's some light blue spots, and there's white clouds and gray clouds, and I just want it to look more stormy. And I will go back and work on this again. And I am finding quite a difference working on this paper from the paper in my sketchbook. In some ways, my sketchbook was easier to paint on than this, and I'm not quite sure why. Because the last time I did the calendar, I found it was easier to paint on this cotton light wish paper, but this time I'm having a hard time, and it could just be wet on wet sometimes is it's a lot of luck in what you get. So I was trying to get my sky to look the same as it did before, and now I'm just blow drying it again. In this section, I'm painting the rocks, and you can see that I already added some burnt sienna to the sand. And I did discover that with this light wish calendar, it wasn't as rough as my other paper, so I had a harder time doing the dry brushing with the dark umber. I'm just using the credit card on my rocks and just trying to get some different colors in the rocks going. And yeah, so now I want to start working on the background mountains that are across the lake. So I'm just putting that in, and I'm just trying to do it in a lighter color than I tried before, but I want there to be three distinctive, I don't know, what do they call it? Headlands almost. So I want the furthest one away to be a lightish purpley blue, and the one in the middle to be a greenish blue, and the one at the front to be a darker color. So I'm just mixing all the colors I've already used together basically. And I'm just going around and painting a really, really distant mountainous view in the back too. So that's what's happening here. Now that the rest of the painting is dry, I'm going to be working on the lake or the ocean, and I'm doing this in a greeny blue. So I just added some of the yellow to the blue to make it more green, and that's what I'm doing here. And it was really quick to do this portion, and I was able to paint right over the sailboats. And now we're just heading right into the little ponds. And I found this harder on this paper than on my other paper. And I'm not sure why. I think it's because the paint sinks into this paper faster than it did my other paper. So my other paper, it was a lot easier to use the Kleenex to pull out clouds than it is in this paper. But I'm still happy with how they turned out, and I'm just trying to add some of the whatever the sky looks like above, I'm trying to make it look like in the ponds below. So right now I'm just adding a reflection of the rocks, and I'm also darkening my rocks, which might have been a mistake, but they do dry later, so that's okay. But I did want to have a darker reflection in the pond, and I'm also outlining some of the ponds, and making the first rock in the background, like the first mountain, darker. So I'm just trying to add, like, looking at the darks, basically, because I found I was so worried about making my background mountains too dark that I went too light. And you can see that I'm just going back and forth in these two different areas. I'm just kind of fiddling around here. All right, so I've dried everything, and now I am just taking off the PBO drawing gum. So you could see it was blue, and now you could see the weight of the paper below it. And that shows me what the sailboats will look like and the surf, like the white foamy part of the water. And now I have to go over and fix all that because I think some of the lines in the water are too big. But anyway, we're just going to be going over some of that and working on the sailboats as well. So I'm painting underneath the boats, just making some lines for the body of the boat, and then I want to put some shadow on the sailboats and also some color in the mast. So I've decided I'll put some red stripes on this first big sailboat, and I'm trying to curve them so it looks like the sail is curved. And again, don't forget this is sped up 6 times faster than what I'm actually painting. This painting actually took me quite some time to do. And I'm just going in with some darker green on the water to put some lines on the water as well. And now I am putting more blue into my ponds because I thought they looked too pale. And I'm just going to try to make it so that there's some variance in the ponds. So I just want some spots darker. Anyway, we are going to go back to regular speed right now. And this is my favorite part of the painting is taking off the tape. And it gives me an idea to see if I need to add anything more later on. So we're going to take off this tape together. And thankfully the tape didn't stick and tear off paper, which does happen sometimes. So I'm really liking how it's looking. I think it looks pretty. I'm not as happy with the clouds as I was in the other one, but I'm still happy with it. So let's get off the rest of this tape. It's so satisfying at the end of a painting to take off the tape. And I just had that extra strip to protect the calendar from any splotches. And that's it, you guys, all done. All right, guys, so I am back and I finished my calendar painting. I didn't put the figures in. This one's from my parents, and they're both elderly. They're both in their 80s, and their eyesight's really bad. So I did put these little figures in for me, but there's no way they're going to see that. They'll just see that as a little bit of dirt. So here's the one I did as my practice one, and here's the one I did on my calendar. Which one do you guys like better? So I think I like my practice one better in some ways because I like the water better in my plastic one because I didn't use my drawing gum on the water. I only used the drawing gum on the sailboats for this one, which is what Paul told us to do in the tutorial. But for here, I thought I would try to use the drawing gum to save some white for the white caps. And I don't like how it looks as good as it does here where I just painted around them. I was a lot easier with this one. I was faster with this one. This one took me longer because it was for my parents and I was trying to make it look nicer. And this paper is a nicer paper in some ways, but this has more texture. So when I was dry brushing, you got these beautiful effects on the sand because this is a highly textured paper. And this is a much smoother paper, so I didn't get that nice texture on the sand. I don't know if you could see the difference. But I do like it. I think my parents will love it, and that's all that matters. So thank you, Paul Clark, for doing this tutorial. You guys, if you want to try to learn how to paint in this style, go check out Paul Clark. This is called How to Paint a Beach Scene in Watercolor. He has many tutorials. He is fantastic. He's really good at what he does. But anyway, I'm probably going to go take this in the other room and maybe just touch it up a little bit with my chalk pastel pencils, my Pitt pastel pencils. I might just try to clean up some of the edges on the sailboats, and I might add some more white to the clouds. But because I like my clouds better in this one than I do in this one, but they're both pretty. This is more of a stormier sky. And in this one, I was afraid to go as dark because I wasn't getting the texture that I was getting on this paper. So in some ways, I do like this paper better. Isn't that weird? I like the cheaper paper. But this is really pretty, and I'm happy with how it turned out. And I'm still just learning. I've only been doing watercolor for 2 years now. So I'm still at the point where not everything I do turns out. Maybe 1 out of every 3 things that I try turns out. So yeah. Anyway, you guys, that is it. I hope you liked it. If you did, please give me a big thumbs up. Hit that like button. Hit the subscribe. Hit the notification bell. All of those things that help me as a channel. And if you do paint and you want to give me some helpful tips, I'd love to hear them. All right, guys. Take care. Stay safe. And have a really great day. Happy crafting. Bye, guys.